What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today, well, we're going to Rio Comic Con. Let's get into it. Alright guys, in today's video, we are going to be going to the Rio Comic Con. They have a few people, I guess you would call them people. I don't know if you would call them people, mutants, ninja, turtles, and some wrestlers. There is a special guest that is going to be there. I've been super excited and I've been wanting to meet them for a while. I definitely am. I don't want to give away too much, right? I'm kind of building the anticipation, but I'm pretty sure by the time you saw the thumbnail, you already know who it is. But before I get started on the video, I do want to say thank you to everyone that has liked, commented, subscribed, follow me on all social media platforms. I truly appreciate all the support. And I'm on the road to 6,000. I don't know what I'm going to give away yet. Hopefully I give away something good. I don't know. I'm still thinking about it. So please feel free to hit the subscribe button if you're not subscribed. Hit the notification bell. That way you will be notified when that giveaway comes out and when future videos come out as well. And, well, onto the video. Alright guys, so we are walking up to the convention center, or the center here in Del Rio. It is super hot, I will say that, but yeah. First up, we did have this, as soon as you walk in, they did have this booth kind of off to the side with some video games. They had a lot of cool stuff. They had some One Piece, which I believe those came from like the Funko shop, which are super, I don't think they're super expensive, but they are pretty high. I think like 75, 85 bucks. But I'm not going to lie, this booth definitely had a lot of Ninja Turtle stuff. Nothing that I was like, oh my god, I got to have. But I'm not going to lie, he did have some really good deals. Like they had the, what is it, the Super 7 Leo, which is pretty much like retail, I want to say. Like I don't think they're that expensive. Maybe resale. But nonetheless, he still had him for a pretty good deal. As you can see, they had he had some Power Ranger stuff. He had Marvel Legends helmets. He did have some of the, what are they called? Some Legos here. They had some Pokemon stuff, but we'll get back to that later. But as you can see here, there is a lot of people here at the con, which I was very surprised at. They had a lot of Pokemon cards, which I thought was super cool. I was super excited to actually see different varieties of stuff and just kind of like a different con compared to the ones I've been to here where I'm from. There's another section here which had a bunch of Ninja Turtles figures. I don't remember if these are the old school ones, but I think these are like the most recent reproduction of these. Which was still pretty cool. I was still glad to see these. They had some pops, and I believe they had the BST. I forget what those are called. Let me know in the comment section down below. But they had some graded comics of the Ninja Turtles, which was still awesome to see. I think this one was like $95. It wasn't that expensive, but nonetheless, still cool stuff. They had some signature signed pops, as you can see, mostly like the anime. I don't think they had anything that was like something you don't see, because you know everything now, you go to stores or pop stores, they mostly have anime. They had a Chase Shredder, which I was very tempted, but again, being selective, I kind of wanted to see everywhere first before I actually went and go buy something. They had McFoley for $70. They had a bunch of wrestling, obviously, because they had Rikishi there. And then that's probably also why they had Ninja Turtle stuff, because they had the Ninja Turtles with the van. And then, of course, you know, again, walking through, trying not to record over people as well, because I kind of wanted to, you know, respect other people's, you know, privacy or whatever. That way they don't showing their face. But they had another booth here that had a bunch of Hot Wheels. And again, they had some pops. Mostly anime. They had some Demon Slayer. They had some Dragon Ball Z. They had some other figures. Those are probably the, what is it, SH Figure Arts ones that were pretty expensive. And then I found another booth here that had Pokemon cards. They had the 151s. They had ETBs. They had pretty much everything as far as a variety. They even had this Harry Potter Monopoly, One Piece Monopoly, Dragon Ball Z, Clue, like I said, 151. And then on the other side of their booth, they did have some loose cards. They had some packs. They had Chilling Reign. They had some graded cards. They had the Dark Dragonite. They had a few good ones, but I was very tempted to get those. Don't get me wrong. I do like seeing the OG Pokemon cards because those are awesome. Then over here on another booth, they did have some One Piece. They had some Chases. They had the Chase Brook. They had the Chase Zoro. They had, or Zoro, yeah. Nonetheless, they had some cool stuff. And then over here, they had some like plushies. I want to say this booth here, the JJ's Collectibles, it was just mostly like figures, Marvel Legends for the most part. You know, I kind of wanted to see what they had. But, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and just leave this stuff here because, again, I do like the figures, but nothing really that I was like, oh my god, I need to have. But it was still pretty cool to see. And then over here, they had this artist, which was Phil Salazar, which I believe he had like a few Ninja Turtle and comic covers that he drew, which was pretty cool. So I thought that was pretty awesome. This was all his artwork. It was Ninja Turtles, Transformers, Godzilla, and I want to say those were mostly everything that he had there, which was still pretty cool. And then over here in this section, they had like a bunch of retro stuff, like video games and all that, which was still pretty cool to see. And then over here, they had another booth that had a bunch of wrestling pops. They also had like a JSA signed Rey Mysterio mask and a 3D printed mask that Rhea Ripley wore. That's some AEW cards with CM Punk, by the way, which was pretty cool. They had some old school WCW stuff with DDP, Scott Steiner, Big Papa Pump. They had some loose figures. There's that mask I was telling you about with the Rhea Ripley. That was 3D printed, by the way, that looked pretty damn good. Honestly, I liked it very much. So, let's see. I'm trying to go through all these people. Again, I'm recording down because I don't want to record over anybody's. I don't want to record too many people's faces, you know. That's just me. Again, like I said, they had the Rey Mysterio mask here. That was signed. They were raffling it off. I did not enter the raffle. I was tempted, but didn't really want to do it. They had some more Pokemon cards. There was another booth here. I think these were mostly all loose cards and binders and stuff like that, but nothing too crazy. Let's see. As I'm walking through, they had some vintage stuff here, which I thought was pretty cool. There was actually a lot of vintage booths there. Then they had art pieces, some more artists down the artist alley. They had some Marvel Legends on this table, some loose. They had some old school WCW cards. Look at that. The Steiner brothers, Lex Luger, who just got inducted to the Hall of Fame. Like, this isn't stuff you see all the time. So, again, it was still pretty cool. Look, I forgot who. Oh, yeah, Lex Luger. I was showing somebody. But that was pretty awesome to see. They had some old school figures as well that were still in the packaging. And then they had, like, look, Sting. Come on. That's awesome. You know what I mean? They had some old school Penguin. They had the old, like, still sealed WCW cards. I mean, that's pretty cool to see. I mean, you don't see those that often. They had some more Star Wars stuff. And then this table had some more wrestling stuff. A lot of these that I think you don't really see too often. And a lot of them were a little bit older. And some of them were new. Some of them were signed. Look, this one was signed by Farouk. Yeah, nonetheless, there was a lot of great stuff here. But we did walk by this whole booth of the Ninja Turtles where they had the van. As you can see, this was kind of in the corner. This was before we were able to go see the actual Ninja Turtles because they were taking a break or they were probably getting ready, if I'm being completely honest. But again, here's a wider view of everybody that was there at the time I went, which was, again, for a smaller town, this was a good turnout. I feel like it was a lot of good people. We were kind of in the line waiting to meet the Ninja Turtles and take pictures, which, by the way, I will post a picture right now. Alright, so I'm super glad that I was able to go meet them or take a picture with them with that van, which was super cool. I'm so glad I was able to go meet them, meet Rikishi, but let's go back home. Alright guys, so I'm going to be completely honest. The day I shot that was actually a few weeks ago, depending on when this video comes out. As of today, this is like a week after, so I've been kind of busy with, you know, work. Work has been super crazy, so I have not really been posting much of anything. So stay tuned. I do have a lot of stuff that I have gotten in. I don't know if I'm going to do like just a few weeks of what I've gotten, but either way, I'm definitely going to show you guys because I'm definitely excited about some of the stuff I got, which are cards, and then I got some more pops, and then my birthday was actually a few days ago. So I definitely had to pick up something for my actual birthday. But I was super excited. The con, I'll be honest, that town is very small compared to the city that I live in. So I was very surprised in how many people were actually there. They even had like tattoos, which was pretty cool. There was a pretty cool little shop or like pop store like in the very beginning, which I think y'all guys kind of saw in the beginning. He did have like really good deals, but I'll be honest, like I've been very selective in what I want to get. I definitely want to, how would I say it? I definitely want to look first before I just go out and splurge and buy something. But I went back anyway because he was super cool, super nice. So I went ahead and I went back and I went to go buy some Pokemon cards. So stay tuned for those shorts here. I do have, what did I get? I got Brilliant Stars. I got in 2 Shiny Fates. So, you know, I had to get some Shiny Fates. I definitely like that set. Which, by the way, I did buy that's why I also bought those. Because the last time I bought some Shiny Fates from a store over there, I was lucky enough to pull the full VMAX, full art Charizard. So that was super cool. So maybe I'll get some extra luck and I'll pull something from there. So stay tuned for some shorts because I'm definitely going to open those up. And of course, the one thing that I definitely wanted to do was meet the Ninja Turtles, which I did. I mean, they're not, you know, the originals, but it was still pretty cool to actually meet the Turtles and actually be around that turtle van, which is pretty cool. And then, of course, this is probably going to be my truly favorite out of the thing, which is going to be, I met the WWE Hall of Fame 2015 Jay and Jimmy's dad, Mr. Rikishi, which was super, super cool. As you can see, he did sign it here, and then he did put the Hall of Fame 2025 as well, which I thought was super cool. And then, you know, the cool thing about meeting him and actually, you know, not having to worry about, oh man, now I got to go to JSA or Beckett or wherever you go to get your things authenticated. He actually has like this sticker now where you get things authenticated through him because you can't get that sticker unless it's from him. So that's still pretty cool. I probably will still try to get a JSA. Not that it matters because I don't think I'll ever get rid of this one because that is super cool. The fact that, you know, he signed the front and the back. Most of the time it's just kind of the front. They don't really do too much. And then I was able to take a picture with him. So that was super cool. I was super excited for that. But nonetheless, this was super cool. It was a great experience. I definitely will probably go again next year. Maybe I'll buy a little bit more stuff. Maybe I'll even get a tattoo because they did have like like a person doing tattoos. They were pretty cool. They had Ninja Turtles, so I was very tempted. But yeah, nonetheless, it was super cool. Let me know what you guys think. Have you met Rikishi? Have you met any wrestlers, or do you get a lot of pops signed? Let me know in the comment section down below what was the most recent signature you got, or a person you would like to meet and get your pops signed, because I think that would be super cool, you know, just to meet anybody in general, right? Especially for me, like I did grow up watching Rikishi, you know, with Too Cool in the WWF era, like the Attitude Era. That's what I grew up on. So meeting wrestlers that I grew up, which they just announced a few weeks ago that the Hardy Boys are going to be in San Antonio in October. I'm going to probably go meet them again. Maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll meet them again, get both signatures, and maybe I'll just give that away. We'll see. Stay tuned, guys. I appreciate everyone that has liked, commented, subscribed. Follow me on all social media platforms. I truly appreciate all the support. And with that said, see you on the next video.
Funko.